Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Tropical Edition. We are looking at potential tropical Cyclone 16 here. This could actually become a subtropical storm. Could it become a tropical storm? We'll take a look. It's going to affect the Carolinas, Mid-Atlantic, and New England as we head through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. How much will it ruin your weekend? We'll get into that. Invest 90L out here, spinning off the coast of Africa. Yeah, this system is actually promising to potentially become our next tropical storm and maybe even a hurricane as well after this East Coast system. We'll take a look and see where it's going, as well as Hurricane Nigel is on its way all the way up here to Iceland. Let's get into it. And here's our potential tropical cyclone 16 on the satellite here. You can see it's slowly better organized here as we go in time. The center is still exposed here. This is why there's nothing, too tropical about this. But you look at the last couple frames here, you start to see these persistent thunderstorms. There is a lot of wind shear here. That is what's keeping this from strengthening too rapidly. And as we take a look at a 3D view of it here from the side, you can see most of the showers and thunderstorms are onto the northeast side. But what you're seeing here is all of this, wind shear taking effect. This center is exposed here, but you start to see some shower and thunderstorm activity wrapping around from the Florida coast and South Carolina. So I expect this slowly to start to fill in. It's not going to become a very symmetrical system, though, due to the wind shear. All right, so as we take a look at the European model first here, look at this. We're going to take a look at the track targeting North Carolina here. As we go throughout the day on Friday, the storm does get a bit better organized. I think it'll go up towards 60, 65 mile per hour winds. Whether it becomes, I'm thinking at least a subtropical storm, a named storm, maybe potentially a tropical storm, a full-fledged warm core system just prior to landfall here. You can see landfall is going to be right around, here it is at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, the 23rd. If we zoom in here, you can see it's going to be well northeast of Wilmington here. So we're getting right in the outer banks here. That's going to be on the eastern quadrant of this system as it moves ashore. It looks like, that's a pretty big center of circulation here, but you get the idea. The Europeans taking it just to the east of guidance, right over the outer banks in eastern North Carolina, and then up to Norfolk by 8 p.m. on Saturday. So you're going to be getting some pretty heavy rainfall, some wind gusts, maybe some coastal problems with this, some light surge, a lot of heavy wave action going on. And look at how the moisture elongates as we head throughout Sunday morning at 2 a.m. You can see it all the way up into eastern Pennsylvania, the Hudson Valley, Catskills in New York there, up into New Jersey and southern New England. Here's 2 p.m. on Sunday. You can see it's rounding the bend. What's happening here is you can see initially the storm is slowing down once it gets into the mid-Atlantic here because it has a few things it has to get through. Is this blocking high to the north here, and you got another blocking high well east of here. But this trough is just enough to help pick this system and draw it like a magnet to the east here. But it's going to be a slow process. You see this low pressure system really starting to slow down here. It does start to clear southern and eastern, southeastern New England by, this would be Monday, the 25th at 2 p.m. So you see it heading out over the open here. It pretty much misses most of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine here, maybe clipping the southern parts of these states with some showers, and New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Especially Nova Scotia here, you're definitely going to get some showers and some wind out of this as it heads to the northeast and redevelops into a stronger low. Now, is there anything behind that? The previous video I did, it was showing development behind it. It's not showing up here on the European model, at least right now, as you can see. So that trend has kind of waned a little bit, although as you see towards the 30th, there is some sort of inverted trough that we have to keep an eye on here because the back end of these stalled fronts and troughs may spin up something. So as we take a look at what the GFS is showing here, I'm going to show you it's pretty similar here. We have pretty unanimous agreement here between the GFS and the Euro. Here's the GFS showing some heavy rain moving ashore Friday morning in parts eastern North Carolina, gaining strength. GFS is also just slightly east of guidance here, so whether this becomes a trend or not, we'll have to see. But you can see on the GFS, there's two high pressures initially showing up here, and there's a little bit of a trough up here. So that is going to draw the system to the north, but it is going to slow down like it was on the European model. As you can see here, watch this as we go throughout. There it is, Saturday, 5 a.m. So the GFS is a little bit quicker with landfall. It's somewhere around, I would say, 9:30, 10 a.m. here on eastern North Carolina. If the GFS is showing right over Norfolk by 5 p.m., so then it really does start to slow its way down like the European model is showing. There's the heavy rain getting as far north as Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, maybe as far north as Binghamton here as we head towards Sunday. So maybe some showers around the periphery here into parts of the Hudson Valley, southern New England. Looks like northern New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, you're going to get in on a pretty nice weekend here because that moisture slides to the east. You see the low pressure here coming out. This is early Monday morning at 5 a.m. You see this trough kind of drawing it like a magnet offshore here, and then it accelerating pretty rapidly out over the North Atlantic. Now, I wanted to show you on the GFS, there's something behind this. You see initially there's that trough kind of stalling here. We have that area of high pressure blocking here to the north. So it's something we definitely got to keep an eye on here. But look what's going on here as we continue. This stalls here, this area of showers and thunderstorms. And this time of year, you know these can become subtropical systems, maybe even tropical systems. By the 30th of September, look what's happening. We got this big area of low pressure, and it's backing up towards the coast. This looks pretty interesting. There's plenty of time to watch this. A lot can change, but either this is like a classic nor'easter or there may be a subtropical component to this because you can see initially it looks like it's forming here along the Gulf Stream. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. That heads to the north. And then it looks like more like a nor'easter as it's getting blocked by this eastern high just south of Newfoundland. So the European model for Invest 90L. Look at this. Right over the Cape Verde Islands. Let's watch the progress of this system. It does start to become potentially a tropical storm as we get towards the 25th into the 26th. You see initially there's that blocking high across the entire Atlantic. One would assume that this would continue and this storm would head due west, but watch what starts to happen right around the 26th and the 27th. I'll show you the GFS momentarily to kind of reinforce this theory. There's high pressure building to the west. Storm continues to strengthen. Here's the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, the Lesser Antilles. Now look what starts to happen. That high pressure starts to run out and we get this trough. There's a high pressure off the U.S. East Coast. So what's happening here is you have a high off the East Coast, you have a high just southwest of the Azores, and you got this big trough here. That's going to help, at least that's what it's showing, and the GFS is kind of confirming this as well. I'll show you this momentarily. A clean possible exit for this system, so that's something we definitely need to keep an eye on here. As we go look at what's going on out here, Hurricane Nigel, that storm is on its way all the way up to Iceland. It's going to get absorbed into a storm in the northerlies here. So eventually it won't even have any tropical components here. And also, I wanted to show you quickly the Caribbean here. Gulf of Mexico is clear as a bell. But yeah, things are going to be pretty clear across the Caribbean into the weekend. Maybe a few showers as we start the weekend, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands. But watch next week here. We start to get a few tropical waves here into the southern Caribbean right around the 25th into the 26th. That's going to spin up some heavy rain. And hopefully we can get you some heavy rain here around Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, all the way through Central America here because things have been so hot and humid. Look at this. Yeah, this is quite a bit of tropical moisture, the 28th, 29th, and 30th. So I think we'll get into the thick of it, potentially the Gulf of Mexico as well. All right, so the GFS for Invest 90L, yeah, the system that exited off the coast of the Cape Verdes here continues westward towards, here it is, the 26th. This is where the high pressure starts to run out, similar location as it was on the European model, and then we start to see it maybe take advantage of this. It depends on where these high pressure systems are, but there's the trough. This may be a clean exit as well, similar to the European model. You can see this definitely becoming much stronger than initially anticipated. There is another system behind it here on the 26th that we'll have to watch. But look how quickly that moves to the north as it finds a weakness. This system behind it seems to get absorbed into this hurricane, and then it could potentially become a problem here for the Azores as we head towards the first week of October. So definitely something to keep an eye on here. Liquid equivalent, well, we would hope it would be liquid equivalent this time of year. And saying that, MeteoMark. Okay, so along the East Coast here, look what's going on. Friday into Saturday, there is what we're looking at. Yeah, that's quite a bit of rainfall. Extreme eastern part of North Carolina, Virginia, Delmarva area, all the way up through New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, southern New York there into southern New England. Look at that. Let's just zoom in on that, shall we? So here's our mid-Atlantic totals here. Eastern North Carolina, all the way up to, there it is. So this is this is a lot of rain. In fact, this pretty much takes care of our whole view. I will zoom in on the Northeast momentarily. But look at this. This is a bit concerning. Eastern North Carolina, especially the I-95 corridor on eastward, Richmond area eastward. Yeah, this is a lot of rain. This is like 3.5, all upwards of close to 6 inches. So definitely keep an eye on this. A solid 2 to 3 inches here into the red. That includes New Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, extreme southern upstate New York up there, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and southeastern Massachusetts. Anywhere northwest to that, you're going to get a generalized soaking rain, anywhere from like a 3/4 to 1.5 inches. And as we get up here into the Northeast, take a look at this. So here it is. Yeah, even Binghamton getting on the act, close to an inch. You know, that would fall, if you look, that's mainly Sunday. So Sunday is probably going to be your worst day this weekend, as is Albany, Williamsport, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Poughkeepsie area, Catskills, Poconos. Look at New Jersey. Yeah, it's mid to late weekend here for the Northeast. That's the problem. But look how quickly the precipitation cuts off to the north here. Northern New England and the Ohio Valley staying nice and dry here. And I want to go over GFS amounts. They're a little bit to the west here. This is a concerning shift. A little bit north and west here. It's pretty similar to the Euro, only we're kind of spreading this precipitation out further to the... I don't know if I agree with this getting so far into Maine. Let me just back that up. That might actually be with another system. It is. Okay. So let's just take... that's better. So let's just take, Maine's going to escape most of the effects of this. But look at southeastern and eastern Pennsylvania. Yeah, if this trend continues, you could get in on the solid 2 to 3 inches here. And then as we continue in time, it's actually showing a little bit less here for parts of southeastern New England. Maybe parts of southern Maine, coastal Maine getting in on the act of 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. But the GFS is a little bit further to the west than the European model. And the GFS as we head into the mid-Atlantic, and this is similar areas, only slightly to the west, as you can see here. So let's just back that up, because that's including more moisture from that secondary system. Look at this. Yeah. Eastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina, southeastern, eastern Pennsylvania, really starting to get a little concerned here. So this is a trend we need to keep an eye on, especially eastern Virginia and North Carolina. This is 4 to 6+ inches of rain. Thanks to Tropical Tidbits for this mid-layer dry air analysis affecting the tropics. You can see the dry air, curiously, on our cyclone here along the East Coast will be coming in from the south. Most of the moisture will be wrapping up on the north and western and east, even the northeastern side of the system. There's that blocking high pressure initially. There is Invest 90L out into the Atlantic. The big story is going to be what's going to happen with that. Well, look at this. It does overcome the dry air, 985 millibars. It does start to strengthen a little too rapidly, though, because when these storms strengthen this quick, there's 969, 970 millibars, they usually find a weakness in the subtropical ridge system and find that trough. And it does. Look what's happening here. Not to say this was going to happen. We have plenty of time to watch this. But there it is, October 1st. And look at this. A lot of the dry air starts to get scoured out, at least across the MDR of the Atlantic and the Western Caribbean, Central America. You start to get rain this weekend in Jamaica. Look at that, 30 to 45 millimeters. That is right around 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Look at next week, Wednesday, the 27th, Thursday, the 28th. Look at how we pile this on across Jamaica and the Cayman Islands this is heading out into the first week of October. Let's stop at October 1st here. Look at this. Parts of Jamaica could get upwards of 100 millimeters next week. That is in excess of 3 to 4 inches of rain. And as we head to the Eastern Caribbean here, Lesser Antilles, as we get down towards Grenada and all the way down to Trinidad and Tobago. I do not want to leave you guys out here. Look at this. As we head through the weekend and next week, Most of the rain that falls will be 30 to 50 millimeters, about an inch, inch and a half, close to 2 inches. They're showing our storm missing, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Things could change, but look at that. The trend is here across Puerto Rico westward, 100 millimeters, 4 inches westward. Hispaniola getting drenched here. So out here is Tropical Storm Kenneth. This is going to become a fading memory. It may kick up the surf for Southern California, but that is about it. Lots of stormy weather south of Hawaii. What's going on out in the Western Pacific? I'll tell you what, not a whole lot. Unless you're like in the Philippines here and you got all this tropical monsoon style moisture. Japan being affected by these westerly systems. Asia is being dominated by high pressure systems here. Except for South China, you've been getting quite a bit of rain, but that is normal for this time of year. Yeah, the Philippines getting buffeted by lots of rain, especially the central Philippines here, as you can see. But there's no tropical activity as we go through the end of September here. Just a big surge of moisture here. Yeah, this looks like we may have to watch it. Look at it surging moisture into Manila here, but look at the feed it has. It has quite a big tropical feed here, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on it here, but I'm not expecting anything to really develop here in the short term now. As we get towards October 1st, things may start to change. We have this area of low pressure just east of the northern Philippines that may cause a problem here. So the Canadian weather and U.S. weather here, yep, we can combine the two and show how they interact. Let's take a look at this as we continue to go out in time. Actually, let's get some timestamps here. That would be nice. So as we're going into the weekend here, the big story is going to be our potential tropical cyclone here. But I wanted to show you here across Canada before we there's some strong to severe thunderstorms from the southern plains to the northern plains of the U.S. But look at Canada here being dominated by double high pressure systems here. It's not till you get out towards British Columbia, the Yukon Territory, you're getting out into some stormy weather. But look at this. Watch this as we go in time. Yeah, there's our tropical system. Canada, you're not going to have to worry about that one bit. There's what looks like a Colorado low ejecting here. So eventually you might get in on some stronger storms, maybe south central Canada here. So definitely keep an eye on that. But for the most part, it should stay south of the U.S.-Canadian border. You can see that low winding up over the Dakotas as we head into the 24th, which would be Sunday. Look at Canada, though. The only place you have to go to the far north stretches here to get into the stormy low-pressure system. It does look a bit moisture-starved, though. Canada is being controlled by this, at least eastern Canada, this 1036 millibar high. That is one strong high. Down here along the Gulf Coast, yeah, we're finally getting some moisture here, and this could help you cool the temperatures down a bit and bring some much-needed rain from Louisiana and eastern Texas. As we continue to go in time, you see that blocking highs just hanging out across Ontario and Quebec here. That's going to continue to be the dominant weather feature, and you see we're shaping up for another very dry week from the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, into southeast Canada here. You have to go into the northern plains to get some showers and thunderstorms, or even down towards Georgia or Alabama. We get a little bit of tropical moisture here, but you can see the high-pressure system. This is quite a blocking pattern for eastern North America. So you can see not much is actually happening, at least through the end of September. Maybe a little bit of a push, a weak system, but that's going to be trying to push into this massive high-pressure system. It's going to weaken to pretty much nothing. So our Canadian rainfall totals here. Yeah, it looks pretty dry except the west coast of Canada. Through the middle of next week, through the 27th, look at eastern Canada, with the exception for Newfoundland here. And parts of Quebec and New Brunswick, it's later rain back here. There's not too much in the way of rain to speak of. Look it up here in the Yukon Territories, British Columbia. Also some more rain here in the southern plains. Anywhere from 30 to 50 millimeters. That's anywhere from about 1 to 1.5 inches. It's the west coast of Canada here. You're getting upwards close to 90 to 100 millimeters. That's 3 to 4 plus inches of rain. And here's a quick word from my affiliate. Stay with me here. I've got plenty more weather right after this. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning digital professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than trilogymaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. All right, so our temperature outlook as we head through Friday, it's actually looking nice here. Look at that. New England, upper 60s, mostly 70s here from the Ohio Valley through Pennsylvania. And then Texas holding on to mid to upper 90s. Look at the cool air pooling out here out west into the Rockies as we head through Saturday here. Look at this. This is where our potential tropical cyclone is going. You can see temperatures being held Saturday with the clouds and maybe some precipitation moving in later in the day. That would be rain. And yeah, Texas, you're boiling again. So we got a big temperature difference here. Look at even North Carolina being held down in the 60s with our storm. And then that lifts up to the northeast here. Sunday, we start to warm things up a bit. Look at that, 69 in Cleveland, 68 in Rochester. 64 in Bangor, Maine here, 64 in Boston as well. Look at this cooling down across the south, down into the 80s. We don't have as many 90s in Texas here. And look at this. This is a big batch of 70s here. This is nice weather. 60s here into northern New York and New England for your Monday. And as you head into Tuesday, look at this. Staying pretty temperate. You can pick up kind of a little trough here in the northeast, but it will be sunny. It'll be nice as we kick those areas of low pressure out to the northeast here as high pressure builds in. Into your Wednesday, look at this. More of the same. A extended outlook for hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Yeah, look at this. Friday through all the way through the middle of next week. Look at this. Friday, it's going to be a stellar day, right around 70, 71, 72 degrees. Nice sleeping weather start, maybe even some upper 30s in the colder valleys. Into Saturday, we start to get the influence of our potential tropical cyclone. Look at that. Clouds keeping it down to right around the lower 60s. And we get the chance of showers later in the day. As well as Sunday, there is a better chance of some showers kicking in. Low to mid 60s, that's the best we can do. Overnight lows dropping down to the upper 40s, lower 50s into Monday and Tuesday. Monday, we have that chance of showers. The sun breaks out a bit more and much more sun for Tuesday. As always, thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Take a look at my Facebook page at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern to follow the tropics. And if you want to hop over to my Twitter page, it's at Weather Eastern. It's MeteoMark.com. Thanks for joining me. Question or comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification button so you're alerted when a video comes out.